And I was like, well, I need to ramp this up. So I created a track and we put it in the studio. We put the work in and I called it Work That Deal, where I actually wrapped my phone number and I came out and I was rocking a suit and tie, trying to be like Mr. Professional. It did create a lot of traction right away. Like literally, I watched my business blow up overnight with that.
Hey, Jack Lehr here. Welcome to The Lehr. I have a special guest here with me. This guy is amazing. The things that he does for our industry in real estate, wow. His name is Dylan Madsen. He is Pennsylvania's only dealer. Welcome, Dylan.
Thank you for having me on the show, brother, man. Like Jack and I, we go way back. This has been going on for almost 6 years now since I've gotten into this business. You were one of the first people I noticed as soon as I got into the industry, because as a newer agent, you always like to see who's out there doing things, who's shaking and moving. And you always had some like groundbreaking things going on within your brokerage. I always thought it was really dope. And it's been a pleasure getting to know you over these last couple of years.
I know it's been amazing. So when Dylan first got into this world, all of a sudden I saw this sign up in Dallastown. I think it said something about Pennsylvania's only dealer. Mm-hmm. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So I was like, what the hell is that? So probably about a month or so later, someone in my office comes up and says, look at this. This guy's doing a video. Look at this video. He's doing this rap. And we kind of giggled. We're like, oh, yeah. You know, he's one of those pretenders. He'll be around for a little bit. I giggled. I thought it was funny.
A lot of people did. A lot of people giggled at that. But I mean, what people didn't understand about me when I got into this business before, I spent over half of my life as a hip hop entertainer. So, I mean, that was who I was.
Yeah.
You know, and as you try to think, you know, people joke about real estate being a tough market, which it is.
Yeah.
But the entertainment industry, that's a whole nother animal. It's a different beast. And then trying to make it as an artist, but it was all about the branding and marketing and trying to differentiate yourself from the mass of other artists out there.
Gotcha.
And as well as be good at what you do. You know, it was grueling. It was a constant grind, struggle. And it just started to eventually get to the point where I put so much in and I wasn't getting nothing back in return. I had to make a change.
Yeah. So why did you make that change?
Well, my wife actually was the one who joked about it the most with me because she said, babe, I love you. I think you're great at what you do, but you're close to 40 years old. You can't be jumping around on stage, ripping your shirt off anymore. You know, people are looking at you now in a different light. You're a parent, you're a father, you hate your job on the side and you're trying to make it into this rap industry and it's just not working out. And I said, well, what else can I do? Like, what can I possibly do? And I'm not going to work in a factory for the rest of my life. So she said, why don't you try real estate? You know, you're great with people. You're not afraid to put yourself out there and just be you. She's like, I think you will do really well. You know, my wife is a psychologist. So shout out to my wife, Sabra, out there. I love you, babe.
She's incredible.
Yeah. And, you know, so it's funny when a rap artist gets together with a psychologist. Oof. The outcome is real estate. I mean, it just makes sense. So you become a realtor.
You do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I got my license. I went through the whole process of that. And then I finally got ready to rock and roll. And I got into the industry. And, you know, that's the hardest part when you get into the real estate industry. Because, I mean, they tell you all this stuff in school because they want you in.
Yeah.
So they can take your dues and get paid off of you.
Subscription-based business, right?
Yeah, it's a subscription-based business.
Yep.
They want to get you in, and the more people they get in, the more warm bodies, the more money they're going to end up making, and that's good business for them. But they don't tell you how hard it is. It's not like a used car salesman or a car lot or working in other sales industries selling mattresses where people come in to the office looking for what they want. Yeah. You know, you have to go out there and get it on your own. So it's a little bit, you know, intimidating at first. But, you know, I took it as an opportunity to really showcase who I am. So I get licensed, I get into the business and I'm like, okay, well, I need to start learning how to kill it. And so I studied my contracts religiously. And I think that all you agents out there need to do that first and foremost before you even start working those deals. Know your contracts and memorize every one of them. Yeah. But then I also wanted to create my own lane. So it was all about creating the deal tour, which I ended up wanting, you know, because I had that rap. I was a hustler. I've been a hustler my whole life, slinging rhymes, slinging baseball cards, bubble gum on the playgrounds, that whole slinging, working hard for the hustle. And I was like, you know, I'm a realtor, but I'm working that deal. So I was like, I'm going to be the deal tour. So I created that whole persona based off of like, you know, the rap game that I was in and all that cool stuff.
That's cool. So like, where does the B come from? Because I see lots of B's and like you're always talking about B's. What's that mean?
Well, so, you know, the Deal-Iter, when I first came in, and if you watch some of the earlier Deal-Iter stuff, the B's weren't really a big part of who I was. When I dropped that first rap video, the one that you were talking about, to work that deal, I was closing deals. And I was getting it done at a pretty good pace for a newer agent. And I was like, well, I need to ramp this up. So I created a track and we put it in the studio. We put the work in and I called it Work That Deal, where I actually wrapped my phone number and I came out and I was rocking a suit and tie, trying to be like Mr. Professional. It did create a lot of traction right away. Like literally, I watched my business blow up overnight with that. But I would always say what it be's like. That was a term I used back when I was a younger kid. Like I'd always be like, yo, what it be's like, what it be's like. It was just something I did all growing up. And then when I did my rap, it was like my tagline, you know, yo, what it be's like. It's Madsen. That was the name I performed under. So when I got into real estate, I'd be like, yo, what it be's like. It's Dylan Deals, Pennsylvania's only Deal-Iter. And I just kept kicking that over repetitively. And as I closed more deals, started killing more and more, my clients started tagging me with the B emoji. So when they would shoot me a text, yo, what it be's like, they'd shoot me a little B. Hey, what's going on? Can you show me this house with a bunch of B's? Yeah. So it was like kind of cool. I was like, you know, I'm going to ride with that. So I started working more with building that brand from the B's, and then the B's became everything. We got tattoos, custom glasses, clothing, everything that has the B's on it.
Yeah. I think you came in with a pair of shoes. Do you mind like maybe taking those off and maybe showing the audience?
Want me to take off the kick? All right, we'll take the kick off.
I mean,
custom Deal-Iter kicks. It goes off of my license plate. It's actually the license plate of my whip. It's on my arm there as well. It's Pennsylvania's only Deal-Iter. They know me when I walk into a room. You know, that's like the goals, like what you do in life. Yeah. When they say, what do you want to do? What's your main goal? My main goal is to continually kill it in my industry. Yeah. My main goal is that I want to be able to walk into any room, anywhere in the country and never have to introduce myself, Jack. I want them to, when I walk in there, like, yo, that's what it be's like. There's the Deal-Iter.
Yeah. You know? So you're having some of that notoriety in the local area, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of interesting. So you go into like your brokerage and they have different offices, and then Dylan walks in and all these agents line up and they're like, what are they saying?
It's funny. Like, it's like, I'll be sitting in settlement offices, like, you know, we're doing the deal and it's in different offices all over Pennsylvania now because I'm in York, Lancaster, Adams, Cumberland, Dauphin, Berks, Bucks, Lebanon. I mean, you name the counties. I mean, you got to spread out. Bees buzz. The more I can pollinate, the more honey I can bring home. So it just makes sense. But when I'm sitting in these offices, it's funny. It's almost like comical because there's like these other realtors will be popping their head in, peeking in. Like it's almost like I'm like, is it real? He's actually real because people see me on the videos all the time, see me rocking. I mean, if you guys Google me, just Google the Deal-Iter. You can see I have numerous rap videos. We did the What It Be's Like. We did the Fake-Iter because I told people, you know, I created my own terms in this industry. Like we're selling real estate. Real estate, the first 4 letters are the most important aspect of what we do as professionals. We're real.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep it real, Dylan Deals.
Yeah,
right?
You got to keep it real. And I mean, there's so many people in this industry that are so fake. And I look at them and I'm like, you know, you're not a realtor, you're a fake-iter. You know, so I started like, and then I came out with a track making fun of them, poking jabs at the fake-iters out there. Yeah. Well, we don't need to say any names either. Like, if you're fake, you know you're fake. And I mean, but the key is, if you're real, you know you're real. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's interesting because we have like lots of team meetings, and we'll be talking about a particular subject, and when we say, you know, if you think it applies to you, then it probably does. Mm-hmm. So when you're out there doing these raps, you're trying to maybe help them. I don't know.
I'm trying to.
Aren't you an edutainer?
An edutainer. You said the word too. Like it's a funny joke. I mean, because all those years I spent half of my life wanting to become an entertainer. That was my dream. That was my goal. Be up on stage, be in front of people, and be able to perform my music and have them love me and appreciate what I was doing, and then be able to relate the music that I was putting out there to their own life. life happens, things change. One door shuts, another door opens. You got to keep running and persevere. So now I'm in a profession where I absolutely love what I do. When you love what you do, you never have to work another day in your life. And I'm providing value to the masses each and every day that I'm out here.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm still entertaining because I'm on social media. I'm doing my videos. I'm doing the raps, everything that I love doing in the past. But now I'm also out there dealing with people's biggest assets, successfully getting them to the table. And now I'm not afraid to get up in front of the people and help other professionals and other like-minded people out there to be better for who they are, be true to themselves, and create financial freedom. I mean, because let's face it, that's what we're in this to do. I'd be lying to say I didn't get into this industry to not be the best.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jordan, when he stepped on a basketball court, he didn't step on and start playing basketball and said, I'm just going to be okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go out there and just be a part of the team. He went out there to be the best. And now we look at him as probably one of the greatest to ever do it. They call him the GOAT. And It's arguably the GOAT, And I look at it from where I'm standing right now. I'm in a position where I can teach people, stand in front of people, do what I love to do, help other people potentially become the greatest at what they want to do. And I'm giving them an edutainment.
You are. And here's the thing, that there's lots of substance behind all of this, correct? Because like you're on pace to sell about how many homes this year in 2022?
We're on pace right now. It's halfway through the year and we're already at 100, Jack. So
that means you're pacing close to 200 as an individual agent with one assistant, right?
With one assistant, correct.
Yeah, it's like, so those types of numbers, just most people cannot understand what that's about.
And it's also about output. So input, output. And I always like to talk about this as a real estate professional. Where are your leads coming from? Yeah. How are you generating your business? Yeah. So that's where you're coming with your input. But in a lot of times when you first get in, you have to put the out to get the in. You have to invest in yourself. Yeah. So I've done a lot of trial and error throughout the last 6 years, Jack, where I would figure out how much money was I investing into this and what was I getting back. Every quarter, I would break it down and say, okay, well, I put this much and I only got this back. I put this in and I got way more of a return than I expected. So I'm going to pull the money out of this, add it into here. And then you started to streamline your business.
Okay.
And as you do that early on, the quicker you could get that net to become as big as you want it to become, you could stop putting money in. So now I'm at a point 6 years into my career where I don't spend any money on lead generation. I don't spend any money. Yep. It's like I've created a funnel so large through my social media networks and through word of mouth now. Like when I walk into any restaurant locally, they know the dealer's there.
Yeah.
You can see me from a mile away. I don't look like you stand a guy. I look a little different than most of these other people. So they want to know what it is. At first they were like, like what you would say, what's up with this guy, this clown here? But then they realized, well, this clown is actually not a clown. He's very intelligent and he's extremely good at what he does. So now I'm at a point in my career where there's no money going out and tons of money coming in.
So like the thing I'm hearing from you is consistency.
Absolutely.
Like your message is one thing, but you're super consistent. Like you're on Facebook Live a lot,
You have to be.
I see you all the time there, whether it's a listing that you have, somebody that you're celebrating, or just, maybe talking a little bit about your successes, because, that's what you like to do a little bit, right?
Well, you have to brag. You have to boast, Jack. That's what people want to see. They want to know what you're up to out there. And I tell a lot of newer professionals in this industry, or any industry at that, if you're trying to boost your brand and boost your business and market yourself, you have to have a character. You got to stay consistent with that character.
Yeah.
And then there's got to be good content. So when you're putting the content out there, you can't be negative. It's got to be positive. It's got to be uplifting. If you're having a bad day, don't let people know you're having a bad day. Nobody wants to hear your sob stories.
Yeah, that's one of the things we see a lot on social media, especially in the real estate industry. People just sharing their sob stories, right?
Yeah, they sit there and it's like they want sympathy. In this world, this is a profession. This is a dog eat dog business. Yeah. Only the killers will prevail. Only the sharks that are swimming in the water. You think a shark goes home and cries to his friends when he's having a bad day? I mean, for real, let's be honest here. Like when a shark goes around in the water, he's programmed to do one thing, to kill. And then he's finished, he eats, he sleeps, and then he goes out and he kills again. There's no crying. He doesn't cry if he didn't get a kill. He's got to kill in order to survive.
Yeah.
In this industry, it's no different. When you want to be a killer, a successful top producing agent in real estate, you have to wake up each and every day and tell yourself that you're going to go out there and slaughter everything that gets in your path.
I love it, Dylan. So I think I want to ask you maybe a couple questions here that, help our audience get to know you a little bit better. And I think they're getting a good feel of who you really are.
The energy.
The energy's there, like the heart's there. I think it's starting to be conveyed a little bit, right?
A little bit. I'm getting there, Jack.
So like what do people like misunderstand about you the most?
Well, it's that old saying, judging a book by its cover, and then, you look at me coming into a room and I'm real flashy. I like the finer things.
This is about the least flashy I've seen you in a long time.
I know. And some days I toned it down a little bit. I wanted to keep it more real, raw. Like I like the whole black look over here. Yeah. We want to keep it down to the basics. So I tried to tone it down a little bit for you today, Jack, but
that's so nice.
There's some days I really like to turn it on. Like,
there's no doubt about that.
And when you walk into a country club and everybody's wearing the 3-piece suits and it's all hoity-toity type situation, and I walk into there and the looks, the side eyes, they look at me as if I'm doing something wrong. Like I took something that they've built and it was theirs, and it's almost like they've claimed it as their own. The dinosaurs of the world, the archaic individuals that are, they just fail to understand that our world is evolving and things are changing. Christ, we're in the era of social media. Yeah. Everybody wants to be an entertainer. Everybody thinks they're the best makeup artist. They're the best this, and they're putting their stuff out there on Instagram and TikToks. And, but these older guys, they don't know how to evolve. And it's like an evolve or die. And it's sad because I see them dying inside. I see these people and they look at me and I see them side eyeing me. They're not sure how this is happening. Yeah. And it's like, and it's almost like, I want to cry for them, Jack. I really do. A part of me is like, but at the same time, I just want to eat them at the same time and watch them just fall and falter. And I want to take everything that was once theirs and make it my own, but they judge that. And, I think that's one of the biggest things, but they don't get the fact that I am amazing and I study every day, the market. I know the trends. I know my stuff. I know the contracts like the back of my hand. If I was them competing against me for a listing, I'd be very, very nervous because I'm just so damn good. And I made it that way.
Yeah, he's a confident individual, that's for sure. But here's the thing. You have all of the you put the actions into your life that give you that confidence. So it's like you go out, you're consistent, you do it, and you just keep building confidence, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The consistency builds the confidence. And I always say that it's funny when you talk about confidence and people look at me and they say I'm cocky, but there's a fine line between confidence and cockiness. Yeah. Cocky people typically don't have the numbers to back it up. They're cocky, they're out there, they're being loud and flamboyant for all the wrong reasons just to gain attention. To me, that's somebody being cocky. Yeah. If you see somebody out there that's loud and outgoing, but he's actually doing what he's saying he's doing, and he's got the numbers to back it up, that's confidence. It's a big difference between cockiness and confidence. And I always tell people, if you really want to know what it be's like, what I'm all about, Google me. Yeah. It's really easy to pick up your phone and just type in my government name, Dylan Madsen, and you'll see everything come up. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And I think the big thing is once somebody gets to know you, so if they give you those like looks and they just take the moment to get to know Dylan like I did, something remarkable comes glaring through. Mm-hmm. And that is your heart and what you truly do care about people.
I do.
Like you're a killer. There's no doubt about it. But you can still be an incredible giving human being because we both get accused of that, right?
Absolutely. You're the same way, Jack. People look at you and they're like, oh, here's Jack, Mr. Lehr, the Jet. He's got all this stuff. He's hard. He's a big, bulky man. But Jack will tell you how it is, and he'll do it in a way to help you out. So when they look at me and some people say, well, Jack's really hard on us, some of the agents that worked with you in the past, he's really hard on us. And, it comes across as militant and this and that. I said, no, Jack is trying to help you become a killer in this industry. He's trying to program you because you're not there right now. He's trying to help wire you so you can go out there and be that. And it's not going to come across as, oh, here, let me spoon feed you this. Or no, he's making you programmed so you could go out there and get it on your own. It's not that he's mean. It's that he's trying to help create financial freedom for yourself and for your family.
Yeah.
And I have agents come to me all the time, Jack, and I welcome them with open arms. I'm like, you want to hear something? I'll drop a few nuggets. I'm going to help you out, but I'm not going to give you something.
Yeah.
You give a dog a bone, he's a dog. You give a wolf a bone, he'll become a dog over time, because people domesticate wolves because they feed them and they take that killer instinct from the wolf. But the wolf is designed to kill on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the differences that people do. So you are training people to become wild animals, so to speak. We're not here to domesticate professionals.
Yeah.
We're not here to domesticate real estate agents. We don't want dogs. There's enough dogs in the world. If you want a dog, go to a shelter and adopt one.
Yeah, we call them dogs or pigeons, the ones that just want to be fed.
Yeah,
right?
they just want to be fed, and those are the ones that usually cry and complain. But then, they'll find themselves out of the business in no time. And, you can't help everybody, Jack.
Right.
We've learned that over the years.
Definitely.
But I've helped people in the past, and I'm more than willing to give them the advice that they need to hear, as long as they're willing to listen to what I have to say and respect me as a professional, because that's all I ask for. I just need a little respect, put a little respect on it.
So Dylan, what is your biggest failure, and what did you learn from that experience in your life?
Well, that's lessons and learns, like the wins and learns, I like to call them, the wins and the W's and L's. So I don't really say, I can't think of one particular deal in general where I would say it was my biggest lesson, my biggest loss. I would say that there's a lot of little things that I picked up early on that we're going to make mistakes. Yeah. You're always going to make mistakes. Life is full of mistakes. And I can't think of one particular mistake that outweighs another, because I made many mistakes in my life. Early on, tons of huge mistakes. But I'm here to tell about it.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because if didn't kill me, if the mistake didn't kill me, I would learn a lesson from that mistake. And I wouldn't make the same mistake twice.
Probably made you stronger, right?
It makes you stronger.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're making mistakes, you better learn how to adjust and become better after each one of them. And that's what I do. I say it's wins and learns. There is no losses in life.
I love it. So what's an insult that you've received and you're proud of?
Like what we were just talking about a little bit earlier, where they look at me and they say I'm a clown, or when I walked into a real estate office not too long ago for a settlement, and watching another agent talk to an agent that I was working with on the deal. I had no clue, sees me on social media all the time.
Yeah.
And they're in the lobby, and I walked outside and I was talking to my client outside of the real estate office. My title worker was still in the office.
Okay.
So the other agent didn't realize that was my title officer standing there.
Mm.
So it was one of those things where people will talk behind somebody else's back. They'll never do it to your face because they don't have the balls to do it.
Right.
But he was in there and he's talking to the agent that I just settled the deal with. And he was like, "Oh, so you got to work a deal with the dealer." Yeah, because that's what it be's like, right? And my buddy was like, this guy was like, not to discriminate against color or anything. He said he looked like such an orthodox white boy in the middle of the lobby of a real estate office while people were sitting there all dorky and trying to mock me and be funny about it. And it was like my title worker just looked and started laughing. And she was like, actually, he did a really good job. Like, he was really good at what he did, because my title officer told me everything that transpired in that conversation. And then my title worker looked over at the guy and he said, "Yeah, you might want to Google him and look at the numbers and compare numbers, because last time I checked, I think he's already lapped you like 6 times. So he's doing a pretty good job working those deals." But then he came out and told me, and it was one of those kind of feel good moments. Like, people are willing to make themselves look like a complete fool in public, making fun of somebody else. That made me feel pretty good about myself.
Well, that's awesome. So Dylan, tell me about maybe 3 of the most influential people in your life and how they impacted you.
Well, obviously my first would obviously be my father. He was my best friend growing up, and he was always there for me, even when I made the biggest mistakes in life.
You post a lot about your dad.
Yeah. He passed away about 15 years ago. I was 27 years old, so I'm 42 now. Yeah. I was 27 when he passed. And it was hard. When you deal with life in general, your parents are going to tell you tons of things growing up. Oh, you need to do this and need to do that. But it's not until they actually get stricken with something that's fatal. It's going to kill them. Yeah. And that you're about to lose somebody that's so near and dear to your heart. So he would talk to me, and those were the words that resonated. Son, if you're not happy doing what you're doing, make a change. If something's not broke, don't fix it. And just be happy. Be yourself. Don't ever try to be somebody because they want you to be somebody that you're not. Be true to you, and these are things that your dad, and just continue to work your ass off. So my father was like my best friend. And when he passed, I was in a lonely state. I was struggling as a rap artist. I didn't have any steady income. I didn't have a place, a car. I didn't have anything.
Were you with your wife at that time?
No. And I was ready. I had nowhere else to go. I was like, well, I'm just going to move back out west. I'm going to move back out to Las Vegas and try to pursue my rap career out there. I knew some people that were associated in the clubs and whatnot. And I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. I was just going to try to wing it. I went down as I'm cleaning up my father's apartment. The funeral had passed. I'm getting ready. I bought the plane ticket. I go down into the bar. He had an apartment on top of a bar. And that's the day I met my wife.
Really?
Just on some random night. She was going through a divorce at the time. I was going through the death of my best friend. Mm. So we were both going through a significant loss.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit. And I really felt there was a connection there. It was like that time where my dad told me about girls, Dylan, like through the sickness, like Dylan, you meet these girls, you got to make sure you're with a real woman, someone that's going to take care of you and better you, not this girl that's going to try to bring you down and take things from you and not return the love. He's like, find yourself a good woman. And it was like, I was looking at the plane ticket. I could feel my dad's voice in the back of my head, like, son, like, this is what I was telling you about. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking. So I still have that plane ticket to this day. I never made the flight. And my wife and I now, well, she's my wife now.
Yeah.
We've been together ever since. And it's like, she became the second most important person in my life.
Yeah. That's, you post a lot about your bride.
Yeah.
And she's an incredible human.
She was the one that gave me the confidence to come into this industry. And, when I was in another lonely state, when I was not doing the music and I was afraid that wasn't going to work out for me. And what am I going to do? I was always felt like I was destined for something bigger.
Yeah.
And not being in a dead end job. And for her to give me that confidence to make the change, make the career move, to come into this, it was just amazing. I mean, it's just one of those storybooks, still like things that you hear about. Like she refers to it as my Cinderella slipper. Like when I got into real estate, like I found like my slipper, found my north, I jumped in and just took off. So that became like my second most influential person. As far as my third, I would just have to put that in the higher powers above.
Yeah.
As the universe being the third most influential person, because I had my father, who was my best friend, my wife, who's now my best friend. And I just look at the circles above, whether, people pray to the heavens for whatever reason. I look at it as the universe, as the most influential force on this planet. So I just want to do everything positive for the universe, because I know that everything that I put out is going to come back. My father would tell me, karma is everything, son. Whatever you put out, you're going to get back, both positive and negative.
Yeah.
So the negative energy you put back comes back to you. So people that are constantly and consistently throwing out negative stuff, they're going to be in a dark place, because no one's going to be around you. No one's going to want to be associated with you, because you're negative. Life is too short. And the key is to be positive. So if you're constantly throwing good energy, the energy recycles itself. It comes back and it just manifests into something bigger and better every time.
That's wonderful. I appreciate you sharing. So Dylan, kind of silly question, but I get asked this a bunch. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Well, I'm a little bit of both. And there is no silly questions, Jack. There's never a silly question. So there's times when people see me as an extrovert out there all the time, and it's a funny story, because everyone, when they see my wife and we're out in public, and they're like, wow, it must be so fun to be married to the dealer, because he's such an outgoing guy and he's always out there. He seems so fun.
Yeah.
Well, at home, it's kind of a different story. Like when I'm out, like I'm more of a homebody. As much as I like to be out there and like showcasing my abilities to speak and be who I am and be the dealer out there buzzing all the time. When I'm home, I like to just like kind of hole up and like get cozy in front of the TV, watch a little baseball, watch some stuff like that. So there is a lot of, I think there's a balance. And if you're too much of an extrovert, it's going to show, and then you're never going to have that time to unwind. I feel that you have to be an introvert at one point. And vice versa. If you're an introvert all the time and you're in your own world, you're never going to get out and get to experience what it's like to live. So it's a little bit of both.
That's good. I wanted to share that with you because everybody says that I'm an extrovert, and I'd rather be that one that's, doing that stuff, chill, away from the public. Mm-hmm. But I do this because I feel a calling, okay? And I think that's something that you have in your life, right? Is a pretty awesome calling that's way more than who Dylan is.
I mean, and look at what you've been doing over the course of just the last couple years, Jack. I mean, when I met you 6 years ago, you were just here in York. I mean, you were doing everything you're doing, growing true right here in York. And it was like, as you started to develop and then you started joining and now you're with your real brokerage and everything else, and you have an opportunity to share that feeling, that energy with people all across America. I think it's invigorating when you see you out there doing that. Like, I'll be like, where's Jack at today? Every time I watch a live video with you, buddy, you're in like a new state. You got your Sarah with you.
Everybody needs a Sarah.
Everybody needs a Sarah, and I think it's awesome seeing you out there and seeing what you're doing for people all across the United States. And I think that you and I, we have the same mindset. And it's like, as much as I want to introvert more, I feel like I want to see more people get rewarded for this and create more people that have the same mindset as we do. Like with the whole Mindset Matters thing that we were doing during COVID. I thought that was...
Maybe let's just talk a little bit about that. Is that okay?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah, so during COVID, we developed something called Mindset Matters, did it on Facebook, did a private group, did Zooms, brought people from the United States and Canada in there because a lot of people were struggling.
They were.
Within the real estate world, many were self-furloughing that are no longer in the business, but we were trying to help them keep their lids right. And Dylan did an incredible job we brought some great talent together.
We did.
But Dylan really spent a lot of time helping people get past all the struggles they were having, right?
And the world's going to constantly come at you with things. Like COVID was one of those situations where nobody ever experienced before. Yeah. And it was really hard for a lot of people. A lot of people lost their loved ones because of it. A lot of people lost their jobs, their livelihoods because of it. And I thought it was really good what we did. Jack called me up one day. He's like, Dylan, there's a lot of problems going on out there. And he goes, I think that what we need to do is bring a collective group together, meet regularly, and speak to all the other professionals in our industry.
Yeah.
All over the place. And it was cool meeting people from all over. You were bringing people in everywhere. And it was awesome hearing their stories, hearing how they thought about it. But then for me to come in and, throw out my energy and seeing the return and how it was being received. And it was really great. It was great. And a lot of us thrived during that time. During COVID, that was some of the best sales times I had. And that's anything in life. The hardest, toughest times, the hardest markets, the hardest days that you live is going to create the best out of you. It's going to bring the best out of you. So it was good to have people that we were all collectively on the same page there.
It was really a beautiful thing. And I think the thing is, like, as we enter this supposed shift that everybody's talking about, and again, the market's always changing, but they're making such a big deal out of this. Now, there's going to be a lot of people who go by the wayside again, just like they did during COVID. You're seeing it already because it's not just so easy to go out and get that contract written. Anybody who's writing contracts, it's who were getting them ratified, right?
Exactly. And it's momentum, Jack. And like momentum is everything in life. In life, you have to keep going. It's like when you watch that Finding Nemo and his little friend Dory, she's just got to keep on swimming. And that's funny because I watched that movie with my kids and it relates to in life in general. Yeah. When you're going in this industry, you have to keep the momentum going no matter what. If you stop for whatever reason, you lose that momentum. And in order to get back on the road again, you have to start it back up and start moving.
Yeah.
And it's harder to stop and start again than it is to just keep going. Even if it slows you down a little bit, you just got to keep going no matter what. And that's what people fail to do when times get tough. It's like a fight or flight mechanism that shifts. So Mindset Matter was one of those opportunities where we were telling people, don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop. And if anything comes, the supposed shift, the supposed recession that's at hand and what we're being faced with, don't ever stop. You got to figure out ways to create a new angle and a new direction. And that's what we're going to talk about a lot in these podcasts. As we move forward, Jack, I think that this is going to be a great opportunity for all you viewers and listeners out there to hear from the best in the business, because I would like to consider us to be the best in the business. And our numbers don't lie. I mean, if they want to argue that, Jack, they can look up your numbers. They can look up my numbers.
They can look at my team's numbers. Yeah. But anyway, whatever. So, yeah, but I think the big thing is like iron sharpens iron, and bringing common-minded, high-level achievers together, like we're going to be bringing together here on the podcast, how we can help each other grow. And then maybe we help somebody that's just struggling a tad bit, and you teach them how to like be a phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I always said, the Phoenix rose from the ashes. Rose came out of the fire better. It was just a little bird flew in there. So what are you going to go? When you fly, you're a bird and you're flying and there's that big flame and you can't escape it. You got to go through that flame. How are you going to come out of that flame? You going to come out there a fried chicken, or are you going to come out of there a phoenix?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that you shared with at Mindset Matters, and it really touched a ton of people because I heard back from them, and like I'm talking about it right now because it definitely made an impression on me. Yeah.
Yeah, so no matter what, and it's like those theories, when you listen to that kind of stuff and those stories of the Phoenix, I mean, they were written to help motivate people during those times, and they still are relevant today. So, I mean, it's one of those things that I feel that we all should live by each and every day of our life.
So here's a good one, a very interesting one. So then, what would be the title of a book about you if your worst enemy wrote it?
How would you kill a bee? How would you exterminate bees? Yeah, like raid, like what do they spray on bees, like bees' nests and stuff?
Yeah, it's got to be something like that.
Yeah,
I would say raid, right?
Like well, they have that one book, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah,
To Kill a Honeybee.
Okay, very good. I just thought I'd ask that because I thought that was pretty funny. So one of the things our team has come up with, we actually read a book and came up with this one word to really define ourselves, and we did it for the remainder of 2022. And we brought all of these ideas came together for our team, and we came up with our team came up with the word zeal. And zeal is like great energy or enthusiasm for a common goal or cause, a lot of passion. If you could think of one word that defines Dylan, what would that be?
Real.
Real.
Just real. Rhymes with zeal, but that's just, I am who I am. I'm Dylan. Whether you like him, whether you hate him, whatever it is, I'm just going to be who I am. Every day I wake up, I take 1 foot forward at a time, like everybody else, and I'm just going to keep it 100.
So I think it's beautiful. Like when we talked about that word zeal, and like we're with Real Broker, it's kind of, we were having a little spin on it. But I think the one thing, like the passion and our team just came together. I saw a lot of water in some eyes.
Yeah.
And certainly I had that passion when we embraced that word zeal. So we come in and see one word. And when I think of Dylan, dag burn it, man, I do think of the word real. Like you keep it real, you're truly real, and you're one of those real, he's the realest human being that I truly know. Because
that means a lot, Jack. I appreciate that.
The aura is one thing, but I know what's in that heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you got to keep it, like I said, it's not an act. And whenever you're out there and you feel like anything in your life, you're forcing it, you never should have to force everything. It just goes.
Yeah. So Dylan, we're going to wrap up here a little bit. Something that somebody in the real estate, they're getting into the business. I'm going to ask one question here. What's the first thing they should do other than learning contracts?
First thing they should do is Google Dylan Madsen and look up the 10 Deal Commandments. That's the first thing you should do. If you know rap music, you've heard about Notorious B.I.G.
Yep.
And he had a song called the 10 Crack Commandments.
Yes.
And it was the 10 successful commandments on how to become a successful crack dealer. We're not selling crack. We're selling real estate. I did a spin-off of that called the 10 Deal Commandments. And in that song, I literally have a blueprint of how to be successful in the industry. Rule 1, you got to keep it real.
Yeah. You
can't be fake while you're out there working deals. The clients see through it. If you don't keep it fluent, you're going to lose it right away, and that's not how you do it. Number 2, eliminate the fluff. Know all your contracts, memorize the stuff. Enough is enough. Whenever things get tough, you got to know how to problem solve and roll those sleeves up. Number 3, listen to me. If you lose the client's trust, then the deal is history. Ain't going to stay in this business if they don't get the keys. So do exactly what I say. Just listen to me. And we could go on, but that's the 3 of the 10 commandments. And I think that that's what people really need to understand, that the key component is to be who you are, to know that we're not out here playing games. We're dealing with people's biggest assets in their lives.
Yeah. So I think it became very apparent during our conversation today that, like, this gentleman, Dylan Madsen, Pennsylvania's only dealer, like, his heart shines through. And how can they get in touch with you? How can they follow you? Just give us some social stuff.
Yeah, check me out on Facebook. You can friend me up at Dylan Madsen. You can check me out at Dylan Deals Madsen. I'm on TikTok at the _Dealator. I'm also on Instagram there as well, Dealator on the Instagram. So, I mean, just find me up. Google me, Dylan Madsen. And then you could also always hit me up on my government. You just want to chit chat, 717-380-8169. Hit the jack. We could talk all day, Jack. That's what we do, right? Hit the jack with Jack in the Lehr's Lair.
Yep. We got the bees and the jets.
Yes, the bees and the jets.
Lehr Jet and the Dylan Madsen, the King Bee.
The King Bee. Yep. Yeah. I got the Queen Bee back at the hive right now, chilling.
Most definitely. All right, brother.
Yo, thanks for having me, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Come on, man. You guys make today great.
Keep it real.